What's up, man? It's MicCheckM.I.A, man, checking in, let y'all know to check out the MIA podcast, man. Voice to the city, man. If you from Hinesville and they get you on, man, you somebody. MicCheckM.I.A, I'm out.
All right, so we back in it, man. It's your boy Conrad, one half of the host here, MicCheckM.I.A. And of course, my boy Tone always lurking in the back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and London B will be back soon. Probably not on the next episode. But today we got a special guest with us, running for election for a sheriff of Liberty County.
Absolutely.
Keith Jenkins.
Appreciate you for
How you
having
doing?
me here, Conrad.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's an honor to be here with you guys. I tell you what, I wouldn't pass up this opportunity to share information with your audience out there. I think it's very important for us to understand what we're getting ourselves into. Because a lot of times when we do things, we do it but don't know exactly what we're doing and what we're getting ourselves into. And yes, I am running for sheriff in 2024. This is not something I just decided that I wanted to do. This is something I always wanted to do. But the problem was, the reason why I didn't do it is because I made a promise to myself. I'm not gonna go into nothing half-stepping. It's very important for us because we're not being through that. We're not being through people taking office, and once they take office, they have a strong I'm just gonna say a strong urge to forget what they say they was gonna do. And a lot of times when we put people in the office, what we do is we look for that person just to stand fast, stand honest and solid to their word. And it's sad when you have especially African Americans and stuff who's supposed to understand what we're going through, that has a strong tendency of forgetting. And one thing I learned throughout my years is, people are not looking for more. They just want to be on the same playing ground as everybody else. And so that's where I'm at, and I guess later on I can just definitely shoot you on some of my experiences and stuff, and then some of the things that I really stand for and I'm looking forward to as we continue to move on.
Okay. So I mean, I hear you speaking on issues and things that's going on in the Liberty County area. I'm assuming you worked for Liberty County for a number of years.
Absolutely.
And I know you also taught karate and things of that nature for a number of years. A lot of people as well know you just as popular for that as you are for working for the county and things of that nature. So I mean, at this point, you said you didn't just make the decision, you made it, but I guess you have time, 2024. So that's when election starts for the sheriff.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I mean, is there like any the process that made you make your mind up to do that? What exactly was that at the time that you was a sheriff? Like,
well, one of the things is I made a promise to myself that I was going to pick a date and a time that I wanted to run, and I made it perfectly clear to myself that I was going to pick. Once I picked that day, I'm not going to let anything deter me from doing what I say I was going to do. But before I can run for anything, before anybody can run for anything, they should have some common knowledge in what they getting themselves into. Because when you can't go on the job to learn how to do the job. You got to already be prepared for the job so you can go in, especially when you're talking about a position like that. I have 30 years of law enforcement experience, 30 years. I'm a certified police officer. I'm a certified jailer. I taught the jailers, of course. I'm certified to teach it, and I taught at the police academy, and I'm a certified post instructor for the state of Georgia. I receive a whole lot of teaching certifications through the Fed. I'm a FTO, I'm a which is a field training officer. I was a SWAT team commander. And I didn't utilize that title just to go in and say I'm going to go in and shoot people, but that's part of my career. Some of the things I have done. I'm a firearms instructor. You know, my certifications is real thick. I got a real strong a resume when it come down to being in the different positions and stuff in the law enforcement. And also 16 years as a city councilman. And when you start talking about budgeting and dealing with money and stuff, you know, you want somebody in there that understand it, not someone who gonna go and ask someone every question for every answer. You got to know something. You know, you got to know something when you're getting in. That's what happened is we put people in office just because. And I don't want to be one of them just because folks. I want you to look at me and say, you know what, Keith Jenkins, you know what, he's running for office. He got this certification, he got that certification, he got this, he got that, he got all these things, and he happened to be black. And so, and one of the biggest things with me is I want to be a positive role model to the next generation. Now, honestly, you guys are my next generation, but then you got a generation under you, and we got to uplift our people. We got to uplift the community and stuff, and we got to start planning and prepare our people to run for office, and so they can have a strong understanding of what they do. And then in the process of preparing them, we need to make sure they go to these different classes, make sure that they get properly mentored. You know, we don't want to just throw people in there and stuff, because that's all you're going to get. It's just somebody you throw it inside there.
That's true. So I mean, so basically your experience, you basically saying your experience speaks for itself.
My experience.
You would rather that versus saying I'm running and I'm black and vote for me because I'm black.
Absolutely.
You would rather the experience speak for itself.
Absolutely. And you know, the biggest thing is we don't want to divide. We don't want to divide the community, because we that came so far. We that came far. We're not there yet, you know, but we that came so far to try to unite the community, to unite the country, for us to let something small, you know, divide us and stuff, you know, because I'm learning the more you try to unite, the better we are, the better it is for our kids and stuff, and we don't have to sit here and worry about not being able. One of the things even I learned that it's hard. It's hard for certain people to get certain things, but it's easy for others to get things, you know. So if I'm sitting here and I want to come in with an idea with the city or with the county, it's hard for me to sell my idea to them. But if I'm certain people, it's easy for me to go out there and serve my ideas with no questions asked. So what I really want to do is I really want to sit back and just make this an equal community and not a divided community where one side has something more than the other side. And I'm not running to take care of just one group of people. I'm running to take care of the whole county as a whole, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, it is very.
Yeah, right. It really sounds good. It seems like you're going to be fighting against all the different mediums that seem like they're pushing the division, the separatist agenda a little bit. Like all this race baiting and hate crimes, you know, all those stories are always pumped on to everybody through all, like I said, all the different mediums. So you're fighting against that. Like, what do you plan on using some of these mediums to combat that, to reach to the people and to I don't know, engage the people in a different way that's been done.
Well, you know what? That's why I thank God for my position on where I stand in the community. I done dealt with all walks of life. I done been in the business. I done been karate. I've been teaching karate forever, and karate gave me one of my strongest ways or approach to be able to deal and understand people. I done taught tens of thousands of students karate from all walks of life. I done taught black, white, Chinese, no legs, no arms. I always put myself up for a challenge. When you put yourself up for a challenge, expecting to be in a position where you may have to utilize that challenge, is very important for us to do things that we would normally do to make things better. So the people who most people may turn down, I won't turn them down because I think they deserve a chance to work with them. Some people ask me, they say, well, you know what are you going to do? Because I got a slogan, and my slogan says, it's not how many people I can put in jail, it's how many people we can keep out of jail. And so it's very important for us to, because it never worked. It didn't work in the past, it didn't work, it's not working here in the future. And I'm not saying people don't need to go to jail. If they did wrong, they need to go to jail. But however, jail should be the last resort to all this and stuff. So otherwise, if you can fix it without sending the person in jail and you can work with that person, then it's a whole lot better. So I tell people, I say, even when I was out there doing a lot of patrolling and stuff, I always tell people that everybody deserve a chance. I never told a person that if you do it again, I'm going to get you. I never tell nobody that. The thing is, you think about life as a child. When you was crawling on your stomach, you got up and you tried to walk. When you got up and walked and you fell down, what if your mama or your dad would have said, if you fall down again, you on your own? No, our job is not to send people out there on their own. Our job is to sit back. If they fall down, pick them up and tell them to try it again. And you keep on lifting them up until they can stand up on their own. Now, if they never stand up on their own, then you can say I've done everything within my power to try to stir that person in the right direction. And that's what it's going to take, because when evil versus evil ain't nothing but evil. When the world is looking at you as being an evil person, and then you looking at that person as being an evil person, then what end up happening is we end up clashing, and we never come to any type of conclusion on trying to make things right.
Okay, and I just said about the division in the people, that fight, and you're talking about prison reform when prisons are big business. So you'll be fighting against that monster too. And to be quite frank, people are volunteering, lining up willingly to go to the prison, go to the jail.
Absolutely.
To be incarcerated and be that product that these people are making a lot of money off of. So you could be fighting against that too. I mean, it's a huge fight undertaking. Do you have anybody that's endorsing you that people might recognize that can help you in that fight?
I got people that's endorsing me, and I have been working with a whole lot of different programs and stuff as we talk here. I can mainly try to do a whole lot of stuff at our level. The thing is, we think about all the big elections, which they are very important. They are very important when we need them. But we never think about what's needed here locally. So we bypass the local and we shoot up to the top. When we bypass the people that we know at this level here and forget about them, and then we'll concentrate a whole lot on the people at a higher level. But you would never be able to have the ears of a person of a higher level and stuff. And when you can actually have the ears at a person at our level. I tell people, the seat don't belong to me.
It belongs to the people.
It belongs to the people. And so we have a tendency of forgetting that. I don't serve you. Even as a city councilman today, I don't serve. Let me back up. You don't serve me.
Serve people.
I serve you.
Right.
And that's our job. So I don't walk around with the big head saying, you know what? Well, you know what? Yesterday I was able to come to your shop and sit down and talk to you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got this position now. So therefore, you know, everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when we start talking about reform, the jail is a rehabilitation station. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. No more, no less. When people go to jail, they come in one way, and when they leave out the same way or worse.
Right.
So some of the things that I'm planning on bringing into play, and I thank God I had the opportunity to work with a department that does this here, is to try to help our people. And when I say all people, that's all people in jail. Try to help our people with a GED.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get them some type of work skills while they're in jail. It could be an electrician, it could be a plumber, it could be anything. It could be a lawn care. We can go out there and we can make sure they train, and I'm getting with the college to make sure they receive a certificate to be able to do that.
Okay.
Some certification. And that's what's important to me, to make sure I send them out, because if they walk out with something to look forward to, then the likelihood of them wanting to come back is going to be slim. But if we send them out thinking about the same thing they had time to think about while they're sitting in jail, then the mind, because one thing about the mind is once you train the mind to think, and the body to think and do one way, then it does what you train it to do. It becomes natural.
Right. So even though I said that people are volunteering their bodies to the jail, they throwing stones at the prison all the time. We're talking about rehabilitation. The best cases of that are people who they're just through with whatever their lifestyle is, whether it be drugs, sex, or just living a crazy lifestyle. They get themselves to Jesus, or they'll go to a drug rehabilitation place or a mental institution and seek the help. So it's different when you get locked up and you're somewhere where you don't want to be.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So you can talk to somebody till you're purple in the face. They're not going to change until they're ready.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's it's a lot different for somebody who's an inmate. Do the jails still do that? Are they educating the prisoners right now?
I don't know if any of them.
It used to be a thing.
Yeah.
You know, jails have vocation, high schools have vocation, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't been there. I don't know. Do they still have metal shop and wood shop and all that in schools?
No.
You know what I'm saying? When we were going to school, they had all those things. And sometimes you could leave the high school if you went to a vocational school with a certificate, and people were quite successful running their own businesses in the 70s and the early 80s or whatever. You know, after crack or whatever, however it changed, the dynamic shifted. It's different now. So are you saying that that's something that you're going to try to do in the Liberty County prison system? Is try to have that for young men and women who happen to find themselves in that predicament?
Absolutely. I want to stop it at the ground level. Right now, going to jail is your ground level. Going to prison is a different level. So I want to try to prevent as much as I can at this level from making it up to the prison. And also, if you got programs like that going on and doing stuff like that, people in the community feel a whole lot more safer in the community and stuff. You know, they can get out and they can do what they normally do. And I'm also looking at most sheriffs sit on the board for the prison system. And I will fight hard to be one of the folks that sit on the board and be selected to sit on that board, so I can look at programs. Because right now the prison system and it's trickling down to the jail system. The prisons is owned by the prisoners. It's owned. They own it. They do. When I say they got everything to almost like a mayor.
In the prison system.
Okay.
And so the sad thing about it is and stuff, and then they got money being transported from one location to another location and stuff. They spending money, in the jail.
Yeah.
And we all know the jail itself is a big business anyway.
Right.
So they want people in jail because they make money in the jail.
Right.
License tags,
clothes, there are a bunch of
clothes and everything.
Yes.
And so why not try to make things, try to educate people to make them understand it. So remember what I said earlier, if a person fall, it's our job. It's my job. It's my job. Whether I'm the sheriff or just a human being outside the law enforcement career. It's my job to try to pick people up and help them as much as I can. And I do that. And this is not something I'm doing I'm not waiting to be this run for sheriff to do something like this, right? I'm doing these things even as we speak now. I'm talking and working with a lot of folks, people that been in jail, people that's getting out. I mean, trust me, I got some hardcores who don't want to just listen to the police at all, but you got to know how to ease yourself into their atmosphere. It's like kids and stuff. You cannot walk up to a child and they wonder why are we having so many problems with the kids? Well, because we try to enforce our way of living into their lifestyle. When we was coming up, we had a different generation and it worked for us, and we said, well, our parents used to do this to us, our parents used to do that to us and stuff. We didn't play around. Heck, I thought I used to have to go pick up my own switch to get a whooping with,
Right,
So,
right.
but I mean, now if I had to do that and stuff, and my mom asked me, I'm gonna go out there and get something that's gonna break up right now. So otherwise, you can't take that and sow that into the community right now as a whole, because they're not gonna accept it nowadays. The kids and stuff is more advanced. They faster than we are. Your generation was faster than my generation and smarter than our generation. The next generation, heck, you can walk up there and tell them to do something, and or get what I would call the smartest person. The dumbest person nowadays is just as smart as the smartest person back in my days and stuff. So you give them something and tell them to fix it, they'll fix it.
Right.
Just look at it and start going through it and fix it. And that's what we need to have more of going in our community. Somebody's going to go out in the community and talk and deal with these people. Not hide in the office, but be in the community and know what you're dealing with.
So you speaking about really being a more, not just a figurehead, but someone who was on, grassroots, when building the community up and implementing programs for people that's either disenfranchised or people that's institutionalized.
Yeah, absolutely.
And making it better for them to be able to progress in the community.
Absolutely.
Okay. So is that will that just be an exterior type of program, like exterior to the jail? Like, will it be interior? Like you have to be in jail in order to experience that?
Well, we looking at ways and stuff, I'm prime example, and I'm just going to use our youth if that's okay. That's an example. Okay, you got a parent who having problems with kids, right? When they having problems with the kids, we have to wait to send them to the juvenile court and get them locked up, and whatever the case may be. Then the judge will put them on some type of program, which I like our judge. He'll lay in the door, and he does a very good job of dealing with our youth. But what he normally do, he'll take myself and Bishop Napa, and a lot of times you see kids at my karate school, it's because Bishop Napa, the judge turned them over to me, so I can try to work with them and try to get them back on track and stuff and mentor them. I ask for them. And so my thing is, instead of waiting for them to go to jail or getting in trouble, if a parent is having problems with a child, I'm gonna have a program set up inside the jail with a big classroom to where I bring that child in, but without them getting a record or anything, I'm gonna go to the judge and see if there's any way we can sort of kind of make it mandatory for them to be there, because this is what the parent wants, instead of sending him through the system, and then they'll be on that program. So imagine the child being mentored by the department along with some of the other stakeholders in the community, coming in and talking to them and working with them and mentoring them and stuff and teaching them, helping them. Absolutely. And that's the key thing. So if we keep on falling back and doing it the way we doing it now, all of us gonna end up enslaved someplace. Because we're gonna be lost in our generation.
So I mean, so the focus seems to not just be adults in jail, but the youth.
It's the use of
So like we would say maybe first and foremost the youth, and also people who are instituted, through the jail system.
Absolutely.
Because you got to attack the youth first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
cut it
you
off.
don't want them to grow up to be that.
That's right.
That guy. You know what I'm saying? But you want to be able to help that guy.
Absolutely.
As well. Okay. So I mean, have you come up with like any kind of like there's like names for the program already, or?
I had a program for the youth. It was called a Youth Network Program. I created that program and stuff. But I'm trying. As I continue to move along, I'm trying to come up with a more stronger, stable name that would work with both the youth and the adults. And the best speaker or mentor you can get to mentor a youth is someone who has been in there. And they can tell it like it is and be straight with them. Right now, a lot of our youth, like you said earlier, the youth want to go to jail. They want to go to jail because that's something big to do.
I mean, it's glorified in the music and these videos.
Absolutely.
It's criminal, I call it criminal activism.
Yeah, it is.
Here promote their activists.
That's right.
For criminal lifestyle
That's right.
in blind indulgence. People are just overindulging themselves in everything except trying to help the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing I would tell you about me, if you call me, my number stays the same. I haven't changed that number because I ain't gonna run from you. I ain't gonna hide from you.
Right.
If I change my number, I'm hiding from you.
Right.
But if you call me and I miss your phone call, I'm gonna call you until I get you back on the line. And you may get mad and say, man, he just constantly called me. Well, you shouldn't have called me because you wanted me for something.
Right.
And if it's important for you enough for you to call me, it's important for me to call you back. I don't care how simple it is. And I'm still helping to work with a lot of people out there in the community. I get lots of phone calls. I mean, with with some experience. Matter of fact, I will tell you this right here. I was the first person, one of the first people in the state of Georgia who received the highest certification in municipal government here in the state of Georgia. And that speaks a lot and value because we talking about the past mayors and city councils, the ones that's alive. I was the first one, so I can go down in history and say I was the first one. But to me, it's because I wanted to know my job. I wanted to know exactly what I was doing. Even with being a city councilman, I didn't want to just go in there. So with me, it's very important not to be the first of nothing, but it's very important to be educated in what I'm trying to do. And so if you're not educated in this stuff, then that's a problem. You ain't causing nothing but chaos.
So I mean, just looking at Liberty County itself, what is it that you feel like over the years, because you got 20 years of experience, over 20 years, right?
30 years.
30 years.
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years of experience. So, over the years, what is it that you've seen that we here in Liberty County need in our law enforcement? Because I know you've seen things go away, like we were speaking earlier about the education and things of that nature. But they're supposed to be helping reform, you know what I'm saying? But those things were taken away. So what is it that you've seen over the years that you feel like either need to be brought back or that you feel like you can implement that would help Liberty County to be better?
I think good, real community policing. That's what the officers getting out of the car, picking up the basketball, shooting that ball, grabbing that football, throwing that football with that child. running over, see a picnic, see somebody having a cookout or a picnic or something at the house, get out the car and just walk over there and just speak to them. You know, every once in a while, just that will, I think that would be the first step towards bringing the citizens and the law enforcement together. Go inside the business, speak to these folks and stuff. Don't spend a whole lot of time. You do want to monitor the road, but as far as traffic violations and stuff, but spend at least 98% of your tour out there trying to get to know your community. Because if you don't know the community and stuff, you'll never know how to handle the community.
Okay. I mean, so like, all right, let's say for instance, like, all right, I know that at one time when I was younger, you had like, certain police that everybody knew.
Mm-hmm.
Now you had some they knew for good reasons, some they knew for bad reasons. So I mean, as I would say, as sheriff of a community, do you feel like it's your responsibility to not just honor that guy that everybody knows and let people know that, you know what I'm saying, this is a community police officer, but to also that guy that they hate, figure out a way to bridge that gap between him and your community?
So let me use this right here. I ain't gonna say, I'm not gonna use it. I was gonna say carefully, but I'm gonna use it right. So this is my theory. If the community hate a person, I definitely want to find out why they hate them. If they hate them for a reason. A person that's hated in the community cannot police the community. It's just, they cannot do it. There's no way in the world you be, because you're too hated for anybody to even, so I would have to do something. But I'm gonna shift that a little bit. If it's a difference between prejudice and racist. Prejudice is a dislike of something. I may come in here and I may not like the color of the chair. That's prejudice. Racism is an act against a person's race. One thing I'm not going to do, and I've been like this for 30 years in my career, some things I had the opportunity to be able to act on it, some things that the powers that be wouldn't allow me to act. But in this position, there's no excuse for me not to be able to act on it, because you know, I'm the head. I'm the head man in charge, so I don't have to go to nobody else to take care of what I think is wrong. I refuse to, and I've been like this all my career. I refuse to allow racism in my administration. Now, don't get me wrong when I say racism. I'm talking about white racism, black racism, Hispanic racism. I don't care what you are, and because anybody can share racism. Racism is not just white. Racism is anybody that has a dislike of another person's race. So I can't function right. I can't call myself being an equalizer if I'm going there and saying, okay, well, it's okay for you to be racist as a Hispanic, but you can't be racist as a white person. You can't do that. That's when you start talking about balance, and that's when you bring your community together. I want that black officer to be able to walk down the hallway and feel like he's not being, he or she is not being targeted, and then they were not targeted in the community. I want that white officer to be able to do the same thing. And then that's how you get your department right, because if your department is separated by racism, they're going to take it out there in the streets. So if a person is being identified and has been identified as a racist, and they displaying that out there in the community, then they will no longer be working on that for us.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. The outward
Mm-hmm.
racism,
Mhm.
the blatant racism, because you can't really control how people think.
Absolutely.
But you can't control their conduct.
Mm-hmm.
Use it by disciplinary actions against them. But you can't. There's a lot of bigoted people, like you said.
Uh-huh.
They're bigots in every race.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like you can't really do anything about how they think and how they really feel.
Can't do it.
Only how they conduct themselves while they're in the uniform.
Absolutely.
Right.
And on that point, I always tell people, you can hear what I'm saying. I can hear what you're saying, but I will never be able to tell you what you truly thinking.
No doubt. Right.
That's
Sort of. No, it said in the Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he in his heart." And normally, how a man thinks, you can see it in his actions. Normally, you can see it in the person's actions. If you watch somebody and you're close enough to them, eventually, whatever is on their mind is going to expose itself. But as long as they're controlling themselves while they're in their uniform and they pulling somebody over and they respect their oath to uphold the Constitution.
Do the law enforcement, do they have like mission statements?
They have mission statements.
Like they own like the sheriff, does he control that, or is it just like something that's nationwide, statewide type of mission statement?
No, it's not they do have mission statement, but most departments mostly have their own.
Have their
mission
own
statement.
mission statement? Oh, okay. I was just wondering because I know, certain businesses do that. Like in the barbering business, we supposed to have our mission statement.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But I know like anyone who holds some type of notoriety in the community is supposed to have a
Absolutely. mission
statement. So I was just wondering. So currently in our community, it's law enforcement has been a hot topic. You know what I'm saying, in different areas. I don't know negative or positive right now, but I just know over the years since I've been here, so I've noticed that something like the sheriff position has almost been kind of like, I want to use the word finesse to the next person. You know what I'm saying? That and that's what it seemed like to me. Like it was a voting, that go on, and I can't speak on the last vote that just happened, but over the years when I was growing up, I noticed that it was like just certain people were sheriff and stuff like that, and it was more of a tradition type of deal, and I guess like as years went on, you're not seeing that same traditional situation go on. Do you feel like the community is just ready for changes?
Well, I think the community was always ready for a change, but what made that a whole lot more powerful is when people started migrating into the community, and they really didn't know, so they didn't care about nothing. So as time went by, people just start coming in with their own strong beliefs and stuff, and they just sort of kind of melted other folks out of the community and stuff, out of leadership and stuff.
Yeah, see. So I mean, when is the election for it's in November?
No, for 20 I'm glad you say that too. Like I say, your most important election to me is your local election.
Local election.
But the elections, when you start talking about the sheriff, county, the chairman of the county commissioner, and the coroner, and things like that, our election would be in May.
In May.
So it's very important that everybody go to the primary election, and because the primary election will tell you who moved forward, and then in November, then you do the general election, and then that's why you see we still have Stacey Avery and all them still out there and stuff. They went through the primary, and they had to select who's going to be the going to go against the you got the Democrat, Republican, and then they see which Democrat is going to go and fight to go against the Republican. in the November. And the good thing about the November run is you can vote for either side, but the main thing is getting the primary in first. You got to get that primary in, and sometimes they have a sort of kind of low turnout in the primary, which is not good. You want to have a big turnout in the primary, and then going into the November, the general election, you want to have that. And that's the starts in everybody coming.
Yeah, that's the ending point. You know what I'm saying? And some people don't vote early. You know, I think everybody learning to try to go vote early, but you know, you usually see everybody in November. I mean, even I just said November because that's the first thing that come to mind. But of course, it is the primary.
I see Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker going through it with their ads or whatever. Is that the case with the sheriff? Are you guys running any ads?
Are you
running any ads at all? Like, are you on social media with an ad?
I haven't got on social. I do get on social media every once in a while, but keep in mind the sheriff race ain't until 2024.
Okay.
I'm just an early bird.
Okay.
I like getting out early. I don't want to wait the last 2 or 3 months to try to run this, and then if I wait that long, then I done missed out on all the people who I could help, man.
Okay.
But running early, I don't have to kill myself to go out there because I see people, and I talk to people all the time. And you know, if you out there washing your car, I'm gonna walk up to you, I'm gonna talk to you.
Right.
You cut your grass, I'm gonna walk up there and talk. And then you may tell me to take over the lawnmower, then we can talk. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
You know, I'm not a lazy soldier, but you know, it's just very important that we encourage our people to get out and vote. Now, one thing I tell people is, and I truly believe it, and I talk to people, I say, hey, listen, are you registered to vote? They say, no. I say, why? I don't vote. Well, why don't you vote? They say, because I don't have a reason to vote. Which, if I was that average person who was selfish and only wanted it for me, then I would have sat there and chastised.
Right.
But, I'm sorry, not chastised. I would have sat there and I wouldn't have understood what they was talking about. But because I do understand, they are 100% right. I can't take you for granted and just say vote for me just because.
Right.
It don't work that way.
Right.
I got to give you a reason why you should, and you should be able to sit there and take the time to tell that person why it's very important for them to vote. Pretty soon, it ain't gonna be both blacks, and this time whites gonna join us. If we don't watch what we're doing, all of us gonna end up back in slavery.
Right. I think right now, though, most people who don't vote, it's because they can't really see how the vote affects their life directly when they got to get up early in the morning, get these kids from school, ready for school, they got to work, 1 or 2 jobs, they back on bills. They don't see how their vote can affect that. You know, most people have enough time governing their own lives and don't worry about the government presiding over them. You know, it's not easy for a lot of people out here who are stressed out about their living conditions. The last thing they think about is a vote.
Well, is it my responsibility to watch over you, and you don't? Take care of you, and you don't take care of me at the same time.
What you mean?
If you sitting up in that jury box, and I'm sitting there, I want to make sure I got a fair opportunity. When I bring my head up and look, guess who I want to see? I want to see you up in there, because at least I know I'm gonna get a fair shake. Back then, we didn't have a fair shake because we didn't need a vote, or we didn't sit up in the jury stands. Right. So the thing is making sure you get a fair shot at being free, not going to jail, and everybody looking at everything and stuff. But if you get an unfair jury, then it's gonna be a problem. you going to jail.
I mean, that can happen if you vote or not. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get it. You can go to you can get locked up and don't get a fair shake.
But I was still
If you vote, even if you vote, because everybody under the Constitution of the United States, as a citizen, we're all afforded the same rights. Now, whether you know what your rights are, and how you conduct yourself when you get arrested, it means a lot. You say too much, it can cost you your freedom. So that can happen to anybody if you vote or not. But I'm just saying that a lot of people just don't see how the vote affects them directly. Because no matter whether Biden's the president or if Trump's the president or whomever, I still got to get up and grind, get this money, and be commander in chief of my own home. First over myself, to try to conduct myself morally. You know what I'm saying, and try to stay out of trouble. None of those things require a vote for anybody. It's just tough. But like I said, most people I don't even see how a vote affects me in every way. I'm not saying gas prices. Of course, I drive, so I have gas prices are up now. The Democrats they were up. Now, and that seems like, since I'm 51, that's something I've seen over the years. My experience says that this may happen if these people get in the seat.
But I'd rather take a chance of you being in that jury, because if you register to vote, you may be picked and have the opportunity to be picked to be up in that jury.
Right.
And I'm quite sure even white folks feel the same way.
Oh, sure.
They
There's a lot of white
see-
people that's not voting.
Well, they rather look up and see somebody who they think is going to be more on their side
Lenient
towards them, and they going to get a fair shake than than not.
Right.
So that's important. But this is where it works for all of us, because you think about it. We still hollering kumbaya. We do talk about Black history, which is very important. Black history is very important. It's a guideline to something you don't want to go back to.
Right.
But the problem is we still live it. We still live we still live back in the days. And when we start talking about voting, why are we as Black folks, now we done had Democrats, we done had Republicans in seats and the whole 9 yards. Why in the world are we still fighting for voters' rights?
Yeah,
Are we still fighting for voters' rights?
Yeah.
We have a right to vote.
We still have to sign that proclamation every so many years and stuff for us to vote.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that is.
We have to renew that right.
That is a strong conversation. So there's still out there that we have to conquer, but it's one that is out there, and you got a lot of people that a lot of older folks are more up to speed with that than the younger folks, and they need to be. Younger folks need to be more up to speed with that. I don't know when that's gonna change.
Yeah, I don't admit my ignorance is because it's something that I've chosen to ignore. Politics mostly,
I should be able to walk up inside this place right now, and you say, you know what? I want to be the. I'm just used to mayor. I want to be the mayor. It should be so powerful that I should be able to walk up inside here and say, you will be the mayor. And you have to put very little money into doing it. And so when you lose control and you lose power, and then you set yourself up to be, that's why be weak. That's why every little vote count, every one.
Right.
Because if everybody say, well, I ain't gonna worry about it. You gonna win. You gonna win. But then everybody feel the same way. Then nobody go vote.
Yeah,
Then it's gonna be a problem.
true. So hey, we know that most definitely, we got to be pushing that envelope for people to vote. And registrations, everybody should get out to those early voting registrations. If you haven't registered to vote, you need to get out there, get registered to vote. You need to speak with people in the community, go to your local barbershop, hair salon. You know what I'm saying? If you see Mr. Jenkins out in the community, you need to approach him, talk to him about some things. Or anybody that you see that's that has been elected official or someone who's working in the law enforcement that you want to get some information from. You know what I'm saying? Go speak to him. I'm pretty sure Mr. Jenkins will be more than happy to speak with you on anything. But we do have to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? We have to get out of here. And it was an absolute pleasure having you here, you know, Mr. Jenkins.
I appreciate
you know,
Good luck to you.
a guy I've always been knowing. You actually taught my brother karate back in the day. Things of that nature, man. And we will be looking forward to seeing you running for the sheriff here in Liberty County in 2024. We know it's going to be a great race. We got good people around here in this community trying to do good things, and you are a shining example of that.
Of that, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I appreciate you being on here, man, and we hope to have you again throughout your time campaigning for the position. You know what I'm saying, as well. So, hey, this is your boy Conrad, man. This is MicCheckM.I.A. My girl is not in. I know y'all know who I'm talking about. Hey, she's not in, man. She's on vacation. She should be here back soon. My boy Tone is always lurking in the back.
Yes, sir. Like and subscribe, please.
Like and subscribe. Let us know anything that you want to know about the show. If you want to, got any questions for Mr. Jenkins that you want us to ask, we'll do so. If you have any questions for us, we'll do so. Let us know what we need to do to improve the show. Things of that nature. We here for y'all. Thank you and peace.
Peace.
Keep Jenkins, man.
Man.
Thank you.